live stream setup. I actually went live on that by accident, so rather than cancel it, I'm just going to kind of continue with my setup here, and we'll chill out in just a moment as soon as we can get everything going. I have a couple phones just set up over here. So welcome everybody to live. We're going to be starting in just a moment. Going over here and getting the rest of my stuff set up. That one's on. You guys are on Facebook. You guys are on TikTok. You guys are on Instagram. Great. Live. Hello everybody. Saturday tea time. It's live. There we go. Open it up here. It's just really nice out today, so I figured I'd go out on the porch and we'll be having tea together right here on the porch. And get this going. And then bam. Alright, ready? And I gotta get my tea. Give me one moment for the tea. Look at this guy today. So here we go. Going live over here, going live over here. There we go. And we're ready to go. Awesome. Welcome everybody. Happy tea time. Welcome to everybody who is coming to join in the live stream over here. My name is Jesse. I'm a tea guy. If you guys have been following the channel, basically I lived in China for a long time. I lived there for almost 10 years, a little over 9 years, and now I'm back in the States. I'm here in Los Angeles where the LAPD is flying overhead at all times, and happy to be able to have some tea for you guys today. So people are asking, what are we drinking today? I'm going to be drinking the competition tea that my friend brought me back from Taiwan. This is a Taiwanese red tea, and I'm going to be waiting for my water to boil here before we start to make it. But basically, in Taiwan and in China, they have competitions for tea, and a lot of times tea farmers will take their the best pick of the crop, and they'll enter them in these competitions, hoping to win. I think you can actually win money, but a lot of it's just kind of like recognition. It's good bragging rights to be able to say like, hey, we have the best tea of one specific type, or we're the best in the region, or something like that. And so it's great. By the way, I have a couple different streams going, so I'm trying to keep everybody together. And if you hear me answering questions that are not on your stream, that's probably why. Questions over here. Ballman says they're trying to find out who vandalized my motorcycle. That's LAPD. I just assume the entire whatever $15 billion budget or whatever is just to get restitution for the one problem I've had with them. I hope. It's possible. Questions over here. We have lots of great questions. Joseph says, making some tea right now in your portable tea set, right, pour. Great, welcome everybody. Yeah, take out the tea. It's just such a nice day out here in LA that I didn't want to be inside for the stream, and I figured I might as well go out on the porch. So, good to see everybody. Steven says, are you in Dallas? No, I'm in Los Angeles. Questions over here from Karuna Sherpa. Have you tried Darjeeling tea? I've tried a couple Darjeelings over the year, although I'm not really an expert in the Indian teas. I learned my tea knowledge in China, and there's a lot to be learned, I'm sure, about the Indian teas, but I don't know it as much. So I've had like one or two in my life, but nothing compared to like the stuff I normally share on my site. So there we go. Jacko Production says, you kind of remind me of LeBron James. No way, man. I don't know. Really? I got LeBron energy? That's a great compliment, I suppose. So thank you. I don't know if I'm the LeBron James of tea or something like that. I had a dream once where I was teaching LeBron James how to do Gongfu tea, and his giant hand was holding the gaiwan. It was way too big for it. And so I said, I'm going to have to find you another gaiwan. And he said, that's fine, I got money. And that is actually a dream I had about LeBron James. Questions over here. Swifty Snitch, thank you so much for the gift. We appreciate it. Nana says, I bought oolong leaves today. What's the best way to drink and prepare it? Well, it can depend on what type of oolong you have. If you have the package in front of you, you can tell me even better. Oolong is a little bit of a tricky tea type because there's so many different types of tea within oolong, kind of. It's all the same leaves, but how you oxidize them and how long they've been oxidized, and whether it's You know, whether it's a curled up leaf or whether it's a loose leaf, it's, you know, it's tricky to say. Very, very fun. Questions over here. Where do you get your octopus tea pet? A follower actually made this for me and sent it to me. And I feel really bad because I don't remember their name offhand, but it's actually handmade. So thank you, Hayward Leather, for the gifts. I appreciate it. Hayward Leather gave me a bunch of roses here on TikTok and some hearts. Appreciate it. Thank you. Questions. Megan Mal says, you were in China for 9 years. What brought you to China? I actually studied abroad there. That was the first thing that I did in China, was study abroad. I learned Mandarin there when I was in university, and I really liked it there. And so the summer of my senior year of college, I went there and I interned at the Nature Conservancy in Beijing. So Nature Conservancy is a environmental NGO that does great work in China, amongst other places. And then after that, when I graduated, I got a research grant to research Chinese comedy. So I moved to China to apprentice to a comedian, and I apprenticed to a master comedian in China for many years. And so I did Chinese comedy all the way up through COVID. I knew I forgot something. I forgot my Gongdao Bei. I forgot my picture. But let's get that there for now, so I can at least get going. By the way, thank you, Hayward Leather, for all the gifts. I appreciate it. I always love when people give me gifts. If you guys want to support the channel, though, the best way to support the channel is obviously buying some tea. I have great tea and great tea equipment. All this stuff over here that you see on the thing, you can get it on the website, jessieseahos.com. Questions over here. Tom Cruise says hello. Welcome, Tom Cruise. I'm guessing you're not actual Tom Cruise, but either way, cheers. Cheers over there. Questions over here. No way, you are way too high up. I pass. Yeah, I like the view. We got a great, I have a great view of the mountains and the city over here. It's been one of the best parts of this apartment, is this tiny little porch. But that's just the way it goes. Questions over there. Have you been to Taiwan or Japan and tried matcha? I've been to Taiwan and Japan. Taiwan doesn't really have matcha. Japan has a lot of matcha. The Japanese matcha is really good, especially if you can get like the really good high grade, like real matcha stuff. Matcha's gotten so popular in the West recently that it's created like a huge glut of like very low to low middle quality matcha, and people just like, you know, they like the ceremonial grade matcha. There's no grading system like that in Japan that I'm aware of that is like ceremonial grade. I think it's all made up as far as I know. And so there's a glut of kind of like iffy-ish matcha on the market. But again, I do Chinese tea and Taiwanese tea, and in neither China nor Taiwan do they really have matcha. It's a Japanese thing. So, cheers. Joe Ham says, hey Jesse, what is the best place to buy a charcoal kettle or stove for Gongfu tea? That's a great question. I saw those from my my provider that we get a lot of our porcelain from, and I wanted to put them onto the website, and I just don't know if there's any market for them. So we don't stock them, which is a little bit sad because I think we should. But I don't know, and so, you know, I know where to get them like wholesale, but I don't know where you buy one in America, unfortunately. So you can look through. Big Chungus on YouTube says, hey, what's up, Jesse? Just want to thank you for getting me into Gongfu tea. Cheers. Your videos have been super informative and helpful in your journey. Love it. I appreciate it, guys. I'm glad to be here with you guys for your tea journey. Joseph PK says, or Joseph K 1821 says, brought your tea to school and everyone loved it. Cheers. I'm glad. Let's get people started drinking good tea early. I love it. Not have to like wait until everybody gets older, you know, and miss out on their whole lifetime of having good tea. So, very, very fun. Question, do I have a store in LA area that people can go to? Unfortunately, no. LA rent is nuts. And I talked about this on previous streams, but like, I don't know any way of running a tea house that doesn't involve basically me putting sweat equity into it forever for who the hell knows how it's going to work. Unfortunately, just the rent in America is too high, and the amount of people who are willing to spend money on tea is too low And so ironically, I think the internet's a good thing because now everyone around the whole world, if you like tea, you can order from the online shop. And so I can kind of service the whole world, including the EU, which is our EU warehouse is hopefully opening next week. Everything is there. We're just doing our last checkovers. But if everything works, then it's going to launch next week in the EU. So cheers. That's been like over a year in the making. But yeah, so I really did wish I had an in-person place, and one day maybe, never say never. But it's just like, I really feel like we can do a lot of good work as an online tea house, and obviously, like, unless you live within whatever 10 or 15 miles of the shop, it's really hard to come anyway. So it's gonna be great. So. Questions over here. Mr. Noob says, Mr. NoobTube, says, I want to eventually run a tea house from a financial standpoint. I'd have to run it 100% solo. It's hard. I mean, I know people have run tea houses in China and in America. The actual building and physical maintenance of the building and stuff is very difficult. And, if you really charge like the true price of putting the rent and the employees and all that stuff into the tea, pot of tea would be $70. So it's just like, it's hard to do unless you have a lot of volume or you have an online shop too. So figure it out. Smear Beast asks, can you do a haka for us? I don't know any hakas. I'm American. There's got to be some Kiwi tea people out there maybe that can do a tea haka. Austin Jones says, are you having problems with shipping? We're not having problem with shipping once we get the stuff into America. We're having trouble with importing because the United States is currently in a political crisis. One day we have tariffs, then we don't, then we do, then we don't, then we do, then we don't. We have them with them and not with them, and it's and so like we're just in a period of great political instability, and as a business person, it's difficult to deal with. It's definitely not an environment that is good for business or good for small business. So we are we're making sure that we understand the laws as they are. But I have a good friend of mine who's a U.S.-China trade lawyer, and we lived together in Beijing for like 8 years. He was like my best friend in Beijing. Eventually went to law school, studied U.S.-China trade, and so I get to talk with this guy who's really up on it. He lives in Washington D.C., and they don't know what's going on. No one knows what's going on because there's no plan. So it's we're fighting through the challenges, but ground advantages problems because of the fires. JW, thank you. Yeah, so we did have some delays here because of the wildfires in California, but that was just because we would ocean ship to Los Angeles and then truck ship from Los Angeles to New Jersey sometimes, which is it was not the most efficient way of doing things, but there were reasons why we're doing that. Very, very cool. Okay, JR is a sub from Pico Rivera. Great. Good to see some Angelinos here. Welcome, welcome. Aaron says, any good Japanese green tea shops in LA you recommend? I don't know, unfortunately. The curse of having really good tea is I never go to other people's tea places because I have tea directly from the mountains and the farmers, like in my apartment, and more tea than I can drink in a lifetime. So I rarely go to other like in-person tea places, unfortunately. I'm not the best authority on that, unfortunately. Very, very good. Questions over here. Somebody said Bing Chilling. I think they're trying to get me to say Bing Chilling. I'm not sure. Welcome. Ivan Viejo says, love your content, very interesting. Thank you so much, Juan. By the way, we're drinking this red tea. This is the Taiwanese red tea. You can see the leaves are really, really nice. And that's the sort of thing I would expect on a competition tea. When they do the competition, it's not just about the flavor of the tea. It's also about how pretty the leaves are. Are they regular? When they go through different processes, they should all be kind of like withering and oxidizing and at the same rate. So they should be very clean and clear in color. The leaves should open up nicely. There should be as few broken leaves as possible, although obviously once you packaged it and you've been selling it, it's going around the world, it's impossible to keep it like that. But it's a great tea. I'm really enjoying it. Very light, fruity, sweet. great. Joshua Blevin says, first time buyer, excited for my tea on Monday. Thank you so much for your support. I really do love it when people, take the leap and try out some of the good stuff, because unfortunately, like, I can't make the tea for you in person. So it does require a little bit of a leap of faith sometimes when people buy the tea. They don't know whether it's going to work. But we have a big community here that I think will back me up that it's worth it. It's, who the hell knows? Zoel says, why do people on RT hate on you? I have no idea. There's a bunch. I think that what happened is in the early days of the tea company, there were some false rumors spread around that I was buying tea on Taobao or something, which, by the way, on a live stream, I don't. I've never bought tea on Taobao, even as like a personal thing. Even when I lived in China, why would I do it? I know the tea people. I've heard that there are some haters on there, but I don't feel like it's my obligation to go and like correct haters on other places. If anyone's on RT and they want to talk to me, private message me, leave a comment on a video. I don't know, like get in touch with me. You have the email, teafriendsupport@jessiechouse.com. Ask whatever questions you want. I wake up every day and do tea stuff and make videos for free and try to share the tea culture. It's very kind of like not a tea person. I don't know about the tea community in the West. I've met a lot of great people, but I've also met a lot of people that I kind of call it small scene syndrome. When you're in a very small scene and you know everybody and you're all on one Reddit server, you know everybody, and then somebody comes in from outside and it brings a lot of people into the fold. I have about 1.2 million followers now across all the different platforms, which I believe it's got to be bigger than anyone else on the tea Reddit. So I think that there's an aspect of people not liking that. If I say 10 things about tea and there's 2 or 3 of them that they may not like, then they put the 2 or 3 that they may not like onto there, and it's like, it's a thing. But it's a beautiful day outside, and I don't want to listen to haters that are lying about me on the internet. So that's I will say one last thing though. It is one of the reasons why I'm really proud of our own Discord server and you guys in the community, because I feel like we have a very healthy tea community. And I feel like a lot of the kind of higher end tea communities that I've looked into, they get very uptight. And if you use the wrong pot for the wrong thing, you're kicked out or you're wrong. And I'm like, I don't think this is helping people get into tea. It's like, it's an interesting idea. New Vision says, can you shout out my friend? No, I'm not going to do that. Adam Greenow says, I think the hate comes from some people is that you're selling something, something being popular and having product seems disingenuous. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I also think if they did any research, they'd realize, like, I got into this because I was a comedian in China. I got 2 million internet fans in China, and I got to kind of the top of the internet scene in stand-up comedy in China. And I realized that it didn't matter. They don't pay you for your content. No matter what you do, everyone's like, oh, don't you get money from hits? Like, no, man. The amount of time and energy that you have to put into making good internet content, you might as well just get paid nothing. And there are some people who have whatever. Once you get to 2 or 3 million followers, yeah, maybe you can make some money. But in China, you couldn't. And in China, what I was realizing was that basically, if you get famous on the internet, the only thing that you can do, you can't do the thing that got you there. You have to sell something. So I wanted to make more stand-up, and I wanted to continue doing that sort of stuff. But the internet did not care. The internet would pay me way more to do ads for other companies. And I didn't want to do the thing I love and do it well so that then I can do ads for other people that I don't know or don't care about. So I kind of had this realization that it's like, I want to get ahead of this problem. And if I'm going to have to sell something on the internet, I want to sell something I actually care about and know about, and that was the tea. So originally, I was going to start like the online tea house as kind of like an online comedy club. And then the tea was kind of like the ticket into the club, because people will pay money for a real physical product, but they won't pay creators. Like, very few people go on Patreon. Very few people will pay $5 a month for a podcast, but people are willing to pay $40 for really good tea. And so I was like, whatever, I'll put a little extra profit into there to be able to make the content. And that's how I got to here. So I think sometimes people want to say, oh, the tea is a little over expensive. Well, no one else has made 1,200 tea videos in the last 3 years for free. And that takes a ton of time and energy. And also now I have like a small team that I have to support. We try to pay our people well. We pay healthcare for our full-time people in America and in China. We try to do things the right way. We actually pay our taxes. Like, there's a lot of tea people who are taking stuff back in suitcases and not paying the taxes. So I'm still continuing to do it. So, it's crazy. But again, it's a beautiful day out. We're drinking great tea. I don't want to be too caught up on the haters. Questions. Green Tea and Good Vibes says they hate us because they ain't us. That's the way to do it. I hope you're doing well. Very cool. Katie CX says, just had a tea time with Sister I's rose red tea. It was delicious. It smelled amazing. I love that rose red tea. We have the cakes now that are roses pressed into the tea. They're part of the current subscription box. It's awesome. Questions over here. Gigi says, did we miss the tea event for subscribers last week? We tried to find the link, but we couldn't find it. Do we need to do something? Oh, I'm sorry about that. You should have gotten the link. We sent an email to everybody who's on the subscriber list. Make sure that our email didn't go into the junk folder, maybe. The subscribers only tea time was last week. The best way to know that information is to be on the Discord channel. I believe it's discord.com or is it discord.gg/Jesse C House. If anyone has the Discord link, put it in the chat. But we'd love to have you there. Ash Evans said, I had no idea about your origin story. Do you still do comedy? I do. I still do stand-up in English and Chinese. Mostly in Chinese, even in America here, for the Chinese immigrant community and the expatriate Chinese community. I have a radio show on the local Los Angeles Chinese language radio station every Tuesday, 3 p.m. It actually airs 1300 a.m. in LA, 1380 a.m. in New York. And then I tour. I'm going to be doing some comedy shows when I go back to China in April and May. I don't do as much as I did before COVID. But I am writing a book about my time studying Chinese comedy and apprenticing to a master comedian. And that book is going to be published by Simon & Schuster next Chinese New Year. I actually have to finish the first draft of it this month, or else I'm going to miss my deadline. So that's actually what I should be doing right now, is writing my book. But I was like, I want to have tea on the porch and chill with you guys for at least a little bit before I write. Very, very cool. Elijah Demon said, hey Jesse, just got the tea resin sampler and loved it. Almost finished one in 3 days. That's awesome. They're really good. We're struggling to keep them in stock. Partially also because of the tariffs. The money is one thing, but the tariffs have also completely gummed up the customs system. So we have 4,000 tins of tea resin that have been sitting in customs inspection since February. And every day we call and we're like, are they done? And they're like, we haven't even gotten to them yet. We have no idea when they're getting through. But we're also thinking of maybe doing 50 packs of the tea resin. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that would be a good idea. Right now we sell them in 20 packs for 20 bucks. We could probably do like 50 resins for 40 bucks or something like that in a bigger tin. If that seems like something you guys would like, let me know, because it would save a little bit of money on shipping, and it'd be cheaper for you guys. It's mostly like, I don't need to make a ton of money on them. I just want to, there just needs, if we're not going to make the money though, there needs to be like more volume. So, cheers over there. Bobuck says 50 packs of the rose, please. Excellent. People are saying, yeah, Gary Schreider says yes. More resin, better. 50 pack, please. Excellent. That's good. Joanne says, will you sell a full 357 gram cake? Of which one, Joanne? We have some big cakes on the site, but we don't have them in all of the things. Zach Gordon, do you have any experience with a really old Leo ball? I've seen some floating around from the 80s and 90s and never pressed the buy button. Well, if you really think it's that old, if you have a trusted seller, I love old Leo Bell. I have a 2008 Leo Bell that I bought a bag of when I was last in China for my tea guy, and I've been slowly making my way through it. And the only reason it's slow is because, like, if I really just drank my best teas every day, I'd be out of them very quickly. So We are, I love Old Luau. It can get expensive though. So we're working on making a rare tea sampler, and that's probably going to have some Old Luau in it. FZ says, is it normal for my tea set to stain? Yeah, so porcelain, I mean, it depends on what material, but porcelain will occasionally get kind of like a stain or a film from tea. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people like it. Shows that you've had a lot of tea in your cups. If you don't like it, you can use a hand towel and some warm water, and if you really give it some elbow grease, it usually comes off. And in a radical scenario, you could put it in the dishwasher or whatever. But I don't like putting any tea stuff in the dishwasher and getting it anywhere near soap in general. It never needs soap, really. And so as a result, it's like, it's really just a personal aesthetic about whether you like it stained or not. Uzkook1 says, where's the view at? I'm in Los Angeles. LA, Shanxi, Xi'an. Question 533, Clairedor says 357 of the rose tea when 50 gram is not enough. So we're looking into that. This next trip back with Sister I, we're looking into doing more different sizes of the stuff we're already working with her on to make this a little bit easier. We may even do a pre-order for those 357 cakes, because the problem with the 357 is that because the sticker price is higher, like you've had it, now you know you want more. But they're actually, the tea company is like, I make a lot of videos, but there aren't actually that many customers. And so if I press 100 cakes of that and it just sits there, it could sit there forever while everybody's buying the 50 gram ones and then just never buy the 357s. But maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe every time I think people won't buy the big cakes, they do. So maybe I need to just like get over it. So very, very good. Adam Greenhouse says, keep any unglazed clay far away from soap or dishwashers. Yes, definitely. I was talking about porcelain, by the way. And glass you can put into the dishwasher. Don't put any clay in the dishwasher, never. So we're working on that. A teacup of roses says, what tea would you recommend for people who like more sweet things? I'd say like green and white tea are good options. Green teas, white teas, sweeter teas. Also, there's some pretty nice sweet red teas. My Anji red tea is pretty sweet. The 1,000-year red tea that I have, the 1,000-year tree red tea, is really sweet and fruity. It's excellent. Great questions over here. Great questions. Rai says, hello from Guatemala. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Our friends in Central America. Joe Cobb says, crazy, if you were ever robbed, they would never think to take your pricey tea when it's probably your most valuable thing. Yeah, I have like a Qing Dynasty Gaiwan, which could be quite valuable. I don't know. The guy who gave it to me gave it as a gift, and so I'm not 100% sure how much it's worth. But like, yeah, they probably take the computers and leave all the tea stuff. But the tea stuff might be more valuable. That being said, I did act like an adult, and I bought homeowners insurance, even though I rent. You can still buy homeowners insurance if you rent. I guess it's renter's insurance. But it was actually totally good. Like for whatever it is, I think I pay $20 a month. And if anybody breaks into my apartment and steals stuff, or if there's a fire or whatever and the sprinklers go off and everything gets wet, it could be, it's only $20. Insurance, man. Wesley Pruitt says, I'm drinking the 1,000-year right now. It is definitely sweet. Enjoy that. That's one of the best teas we have on the site. I would love to do big cakes of them, but they'd probably be $200 something. But I can bring the price down if we do the bigger cakes though, because a lot of the price of the tea being a little bit high is just the fact that because I do this all on the internet, getting somebody to buy the tea the first time is very hard. Once people buy it, they come back, which is great, which is why I have the loyalty program and I give out coupons, and there's coupon codes on the back of a lot of the info cards. I'm totally cool with everybody who's a good customer coming back. You get 10, 15% off sometimes. You know, the loyalty program bonuses, basically everything on the site is 5% off all the time if you use a loyalty program, because you can redeem the points for cash on the site. So like, I'm totally fine with that. And so similar idea, like if somebody comes for a 357 gram cake, you know, that's 7 times a 50 gram cake, I can give you a lower price, which is great. So very, very cool. Kermit says, I'm down the block, can you throw me a water bottle? I'll give you a little tea drag if you can catch the tea drag. Questions over here. By the way, great questions. If Maddie says, best bang for your buck teas on the side. I love quality tea, but broke. I have a 2014 Fooding White Tea chocolate bar, which is 100 grams, and I think it's $30. That's a good deal. It also comes cut into squares. You get 18 squares for $30. It's like a little over $1 each. That's a good deal. What are other really good deals on the site? I mean, if you get the 300 or the 357 gram cakes, the big ones, then you get a good deal on those because like the price per gram is lower, but the cost is a little bit higher. We also have a 1 or 2 $48 tea cakes on the website, which are $48, but it's 357 grams, so that's like 50 sessions. So that's like $1 a session. Yeah, so those are some pretty good deals. I wish I could get, I do need to get some like bigger, like, some better kind of like everyday tea type things on the channel. I just like don't want the price to be too low though, because then I have to sell a ton of it, and it's like other places have not great tea. If you just need a lot of tea that's kind of okay, you can get it other places. But the chocolate bar is good. I think the chocolate, like I wouldn't have it on the site if it wasn't good. Very, very good. Questions over here. John Funkadelic Kennedy asked, you have the yellow teas on your website. I remember hearing about them, but they're hard to find. I unfortunately found a great yellow tea, and it was awesome. And I went to the tea people and I was like, do you have all the papers so we can export it? And the answer was no. They were kind of like growing it illegally. And so they didn't have the papers in China to allow me to export it. So while I don't think it would have had any issues being imported, I can't export it legally. The tea company is too big now. We're not putting stuff into suitcases and sending it across in mislabeled boxes. So, questions over here. Damon says, I can vouch for the Fooding White, great bang for your buck, and it's one of the best teas you've had in a while. I like Fooding White tea. I mean, I think in recent years, it's gotten harder to get into fooding tea because it's gotten more popular. But luckily, the guys that I have that get my Fooding White tea, I've known since like 2012. And one of the things you find out about tea people in China is that unless the price really goes crazy, they like to give you the same price you bought it at when you first met them. So for some of my white teas, I'm still getting like a 2012 price in 2025, which is really good. Now, like obviously, like if it's not feasible, they will tell you like, hey, the price has gone up too much. I really just can't give you that. I can't give you that price anymore. But they like to try to give you the same price. So when I can get those, I pass them on to you. Excellent. Questions over here from Zach Fortin. I'd love to see you make more teas about your private stash. It'd be great if you did some long-form content on it. Maybe only one tea per video, do a deep dive into the history of it. That's a good idea. I tried doing something like that. I have one video that's exactly like what you said. If you go back on YouTube, I have a long-form video. I think it's called like, this tea is $1,500 a pound or something like that. And it was my 30-year age white tea. And I did kind of like a longer video on it. But then just unfortunately, like none of the internet platforms give any traffic to long videos. So they're very hard to make, expensive to make, and like they don't show them to anybody. So I would love to be able to do that if I could. Great questions over here. There's a plane flying towards you. Hope not. Nicholas Roberts says, there's a quick question. Do you have an opinion on spiced chai lattes? Do you sell any? We don't sell any chai because that's Indian tea. And so it's like a kind of a different tea tradition. a lot of the Indian tea, from my understanding, is after the British smuggled the tea seeds out and the tea plant out of China, they planted it in the colonies. And during that time, the colonialists would basically take the best leaves and they would try to sell them back in Europe. And that left the local people to basically have the lower quality leaves, the cut up leaves, the dust. Ironically now, the Westerners drink the tea dust and the locals drink better tea in China at least. But my understanding is that the reason that milk and spices and all this stuff got added to the tea leaves is because local Indian tea farmers and then eventually Indian tea consumers wanted to try to make a really tasty drink with lower quality tea. And so that's not to say that chai nowadays has to use low quality tea, but that's my understanding for kind of like the origin of it. And but in China, where they didn't ever get colonized directly, at least not in that way, they don't tend to drink spicy tea. Very cool. Zach Horn says, yes, a 30-year-old white tea video is literally what got me into tea. Oh, great. So maybe they do work. I mean, like, even if it doesn't have as many views, maybe they reach people deeper. So I've been into it for a few years now, thanks to that video. Cheers, man. I'm glad to hear that. As a creator, you put in all this time and effort, and you make all this stuff, and you do all these live streams, and like, a lot of times it's just like numbers. And like, I know that to some degree the numbers are real, but also like I started my entertainment career in China where the numbers were not always real. And it's like, I just don't like, it's like mentally, you can't get caught up too much in the numbers, but also the numbers dictate kind of what stuff you can make. So I'm glad for it, I'm glad. Like Give a Fuck says, plans for more tea coins or bars. I tried portable tea, love having the equipment, the tea cake in the backpack. We are working with Sister I on some new stuff that hopefully when I'm going to be going to China in April and May, that's for sure. And when I go there, hopefully we'll be able to like pin down the details of some new sizes of the stuff that she already has and some new teas that have not been on the site yet. So that's going to be great. That's awesome. Great questions over here. Gordon says, you have a gift package that includes everything you need. I want to get as a gift for a friend. Yeah, we have a bunch of tea sets, including like this one. This is the blue-white porcelain set. We also have Qianjiajai, which is the tea mountain we get our tea from. That set. We have travel sets, and then a lot of them come with options to add a tea sampler. So it's all on jessieseahouse.com. You can take a look at like, you know, what's going on there and see if you like it. It's on the TikTok shop as well. And yeah, I'd say a tea maker and some tea, and you're there. And for the tea, I recommend the 8-tea sampler because you have all sorts of teas in there. We're probably going to run out of stock of that in like 2 weeks. We have another shipment that's already been launched, but that shipment's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks to reach us if the customs doesn't eat it, which, given the state of the U.S. customs right now, we have really no idea. But it's yeah, I give that a try, definitely. Any recommendations for somebody from Kaifeng who might be missing home? Oh, try and think of Kaifeng Henan tea. I know that they do make tea in Henan, so maybe a Henanese tea. I don't think I have any Henan tea, but that could be fun. Yeah, look into tea from the I believe Kaifeng is Henan, I believe. So if you're interested in finding some Henan tea, that could be a good gift. Cheers over there. Have you ever been to Shanxi? I have. I've been to I spent Chinese New Year at Golden, which is a Xiao Cunzhuang near Jiexiu. So I did. I went to Jiexiu. I went to Taiyuan. No, that's Shanxi, yeah, right? That's Shanxi, or is it Shanxi? I'm trying to remember if it's Shanxi or Shanxi. But I believe I've been there, if I'm not mistaken. So, cheers over here. Sylvie Pickles says, "Hey Jesse, I'm glad you found your page. I started a journey a few months ago. Now I drink tea daily." There we go. We're doing it, people. We're making tea, okay? It's like, even a couple of years ago, I came back. For people who don't know, I lived in China 9 years. I came back for what I thought was a vacation, but I flew back and COVID hit in midair. So when I landed in China, China had shut down and they canceled my visa, and I got exiled out of China back to my own country. And when I came back here, like, tea was not a thing. And over the years of making these videos, kind of made tea a thing. So I'm always super glad to hear that people are getting into tea from the videos. That's why I do it. That's great. Very, very fun. Questions over here. What is a good tea resin for my mother-in-law? She's from Hong Kong. Just get her the tea sampler, the resin sampler, or you could just get the show pour sampler, or the show pour tin, or the Chen Pi tin. I think both of those will go over well for Hong Kong people. But yeah, that'd be great. Zach Fortin says, in regards to the 30-year-old white tea video, I'd never seen tea leaves that actually look like leaves, and I was like, oh, that looks good. And yeah, the old tea leaves, I mean, leaves are leaves, man. Like, especially that, because it was very loose. A lot of white tea nowadays is pressed into cakes, but that was loose. And once you make it loose, once it's dry and it's loose, like, you can press it again, but it's kind of a challenge. And when you have tea that looks like that, you kind of keep it loose. So very, very cool. Questions. When you get deported back to the U.S., it's always an irony. I know. The world is shutting down, man. We're on a major pendulum swing right now that we went open, the world went open, and we globalized, and we're on a pendulum swing back. My honest hope is it's kind of the last gasp of this very kind of closed-minded world thinking. Like, the world is mixed, man. Cultures are mixed. The internet exists. Planes exist. We're not going back to a time when everybody in your village looked like you. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I've learned amazing things from people all around the world that have greatly improved my life and allowed me to, live well, both as like my career and also my just my personal life. I just today I went down that direction about 2 miles in LA. There's a wholesale Thai grocery store, which is it's like a Costco, but it's all like Thai and Asian food. And I got so much good stuff. I have all these great dried dragon fruit and pho spice blend that I'm gonna make pho at home, and Chinese dried sausages and all this stuff. It's you're not gonna find it if you live next to the same people that are exactly like you. And I think that there are people struggling with that because they don't have these networks, and they don't see how their life can be improved by other people from another place. And I think that's a shame, because it's definitely a I hope that once we kind of deal with this backlash, we'll wind up kind of re-entering a more open world where people recognize the value of what 10 years ago we knew, which was that when you have open borders and open trade and everybody can actually kind of live together on the earth's a better place to be, and there's fewer wars and there's less conflict and everything is cheaper. So it's just you live a better life for less money. That's what I mean. Anyway, that's all this tea. You want good tea, you can't grow it in America. It's not because of the climate. It's about the climate is part of it, but the knowledge and the expertise of how to make the tea well goes back thousands of years. It's you want a good pizza, go to Italy. They've been making pizza. You want there's some things some people do better because they have human knowledge that goes back. The equipment is expensive and difficult to transport. The equipment to make tea is not easy. And then there's the labor. In America, I don't think you could afford to pay people to hand pick the tea leaves. So there's a lot of interesting stuff over there. Sam, last name Thompson, says, yo, hey Jesse. Yo, how's it going? Hey. Charles Chocolate Factory says, American, I want to pursue an education in a different country. Any advice on what to expect in moving abroad? I think it's a great idea. I think getting an education abroad is great because you get two educations. You get whatever you learned in school, and then for the rest of your life, you have another perspective on how to look back at your own country. The moment you see there's another way of doing things, you're like, huh, do I like the way we do it or not? And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. If money is a problem, I highly recommend looking into scholarships that you might be able to get. I know there's a lot of scholarships to go to Taiwan right now if you want to learn Chinese. I don't know about every country in the world. There's a lot of scholarships in China as well if you want to go to China. There's a lot of scholarships out there for people to be able to go over, learn like a language, or even get master's degrees. In America, master's degrees are a tool used by academia to make money from people. In other countries, they want to expand their internationalism, and they oftentimes will have very cheap or even free master's programs that you can get as an American you can apply for. So that's very, very cool. Erson 77, hello Jesse from Navajo Nation. Greetings to our friends in Navajo Nation. Where in Navajo Nation? What part of the United States is nearby, so I can get an idea of where you are? Wesley Pruitt says, I lived in Mexico for 6 years, and as a kid, I could say what Jesse says 100% on point. I wish, it's money, it's time, it's carbon. I wish there was a way that everybody got a chance to spend a year outside of the country they're from. This world would look really different if everybody had to live in another country for a year. And ideally another country that's different than yours. Like, England is another country from America, is culturally different. It's not as much of a difference as if you go to a place like, Vietnam. And so I think that the further abroad you can get, the more you realize, wow, these people are real different from me, and also they're exactly the same as me. And, to come to that realization and to hold both of those things in your head at the same time, it's very difficult unless your body has gone through it. It's really a noble thing for people that can get to that point just through the internet and through people that they meet in their real life. But when you actually get to go and live in another place, you realize there's many different ways to live, and they're not in conflict with each other. So it's definitely very, very cool. Awesome, very cool. Questions over here. Tony Coolman said, I got a Gong Fu style tea set for my birthday this year. Thanks for the videos. Cheers. Glad to have more people in the Gong Fu family. If you ever need any tea or tea pets for your table, feel free to check out my site, jessesteahouse.com. Hey, TikTok shop is also open. Very, very cool. Wesley Pruitt says, so many people are just like us, and it's crazy how similar we are while all being different. It's like, yeah, it's the way the world is. What I say is this: the difference between an average person in two different cultures is smaller than the distance between two given people. As people, we're all different from each other. As cultures, we're all different from each other. But the difference between culture A and B is smaller than the difference between person A and B. Person A and B, we have radically different schedules. I sleep late, you sleep early. Somebody else, I drink tea, you drink coffee, whatever. Like these differences on the whole of how we live are bigger than the difference between average two cultures. A lot of cultures are like, you have a guest over, treat them well. You do business, try to be, righteous. You make something, try not to pollute the earth. Like, cultures in general feel that way. Individual people will say, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna cheat people. I'm gonna destroy the earth. I'm gonna do whatever. Individual people do that. Cultures tend to not have that element to them. And so a lot of times when people are like, like those people over there, they do that. See, here's an example. I'm like, no, you're misreading the situation. It's not the way it works. Somebody on Instagram here just asked about if they wanted to do tea trips. Go to jessie'steatours.com and sign up for my email list. I have not sent a single email on that list yet, but I am going to be sending out more info about that. I'm currently working through some potential avenues to do this. I want to be able to do tea tours, but they can't be too big because otherwise I have to get like tons of people around windy mountain passes, and they can't be too expensive because I don't want to like squeeze everybody for money to drink tea with them. But it is already going to be expensive just to fly to China or Taiwan or wherever we're doing the thing. So so I'm trying to work this out because it's not something that I have interest in to do a very small niche tour and charge a ton of money to people. But it's also not something I have interest in to do something that's so big and accessible that we have 50 people, 60, 70, 80 people coming. And then I have to wrangle 80 people through the thing. So Hayward Leather says I got it about 20 bings now, 95 of the collection is aged Shung. Solid. Cheers. The real play with that is to try to buy a little, like a couple bings every year of whatever you like to drink, like Shung, white tea, show, whatever you want to get of that year's crop. And eventually they age up, and then 10 years from now you have a 10-year aged cake. And if you get a couple of each of them, then you can be drinking one while the rest of them age. So it's crazy. That's the way to do it. Question, is your tea kettle plastic on the inside? I bought one that was marked as metal, but the inside plastic. No. These are Brewistas. This is the only thing on my site that's not my brand. I sell the Brewista kettles. It's a separate company, but the kettles are really good. This is their V-neck, which is, I think, a little bit cheaper. The technology is all actually in the base here, that you can have temperature settings and everything. I wouldn't have plastic on the inside of the kettle. I think that's probably not good. This is metal. Ethan J. Shu says, how long would it take for your tea to get to us? My warehouse is in New Jersey. So if you are buying it in the US, it's coming from New Jersey. Next week, hopefully, we're opening a warehouse in the EU. I've been working on it for over a year. But like, it's just up to, like, it takes us 2 business days to get it in the mail. And then if you choose like 2-day shipping, it'll be 2 days from there. But like, please people, I don't have control over the shippers. If you have a problem because they're late, message them. You can message our customer service. We'll tell you to message them, because once we put it in the mail, I don't have any control over it. I don't have a secret button I can press that makes the shippers actually do the job that we both paid them for. Unfortunately, they just like, you know, the world would not operate without them, but because of that, they just take no responsibility for anything, and it drives me insane. If you guys think you guys are upset, then like, you know, the shippers, I can't believe it. That being said, almost all the shipments do make it to people, even if sometimes they're late. But sometimes we have people pay extra for 2-day shipping, and it takes 4 days, and I'm like, I just don't have control over it, man. The best way to do things is not to need that much of a rush and get it now, and then you have it later. Very, very cool. Harry Snarfblatt Piper says, just received white tea set, nice, and Bing Dao Puar, nice, this Thursday. Waiting for the whole family to assemble and crack open the ceremony. Welcome, enjoy. You can take my tea steeping suggestions, but remember, adjust it to taste. If it's too strong, back off. Lower temperature, lower steep time. If it's not strong enough, steep it longer. Give it a try, experiment. Start with wherever, you know, I said, and then adjust off of there. Questions from there. Becky Slew says, orders from Asia would be coming from America? Unfortunately, yes. Or when we open the EU warehouse in EU. We have all the tea, like we make all the tea in China and Taiwan, but we pack it locally and then we send it to the warehouse here in the States. So like, we don't have any like system to be able to ship off individual packages from Asia, unfortunately. Maybe one day the market in Asia will get bigger. I just kind of assumed at the beginning of this that there's good tea in Asia, and we're probably not like not the immediate need of the tea world to figure out shipping to Asia. But who knows? Maybe we'll open a Singapore warehouse. That'd be great. It'd be easier to ship there for sure. Sylvie Pickle says the Bingdao Mellow is very good. I drink that one most mornings. That's a really good. Somebody asked about a good value tea as well. That's a good one. That tea is very smooth and solid for a cooked pu'er. It's earthy, so it's like if you're not into deep, rich, earthy flavor, don't get it. But if you like that, price per gram, it might be one of the best deals on the site. And it's not a bad tea. It's one of the reasons why I don't have like 14 different cooked pu'er tea cakes on my site. I generally like to keep like one or two at different price levels. So like, if that's your price level, get that one. That's the one I recommend. What about other ones? I'm sure there are other good ones out there. I'm not going to sit here and say I have the only good tea in the world. I'm sure there is. But I've drunk a lot of them. That was the best at that price that I found. And like, you know, that's the one I recommend. So, it's a good one. And by the way, it's from the Bingdao area. It's from a couple kilometers away. It's not the oldest of the old tea trees in Bingdao. Bingdao is a very expensive tea area. Again, it's all written in the item description. But somebody tagged me in a video saying like, this guy's saying he's selling tea from the Bingdao Old Village and it's only 48 bucks. I'm like, I never said it was from the Bingdao Old Village. It's from the Bingdao area. It's in the item description. The Bingdao Old Village tea is like the raw material, just the leaves, before you've even made them into tea. A kilogram of leaves from that area is about 4,000 US dollars. So like, that's before it even becomes tea. So like, I'm not selling it. One slumpy man asked where I am. I'm in Los Angeles. Luoshanxi. Very, very good. Valerie says, what is your opinion on gold investment? I don't know. Probably a better investment than pu'er. But pu'er does go up in value. I don't know. We don't take gold, unfortunately, as payment, though. You'll have to convert it into money before then. Rumbrave says, you mentioned the possibility... Oh, what did I say? Rumbrave says, you mentioned the possibility of tongs of doing it in sister eyes. You think you'll be ready for that before you leave China, or is it slowly being worked out? We're working on that. I'll show you here. We're making progress. So, where is my tong? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Found it. So we're looking to make these, which are tongs of 50-gram cakes. So this is 7 50-gram cakes. Traditionally, in Yunnan, pu'er is sold by the tong. This is a tong. And a tong is 7 357-gram cakes. But because I'm worried that that's a ton of tea, it's literally 2 kilograms of tea, that there just won't be a market for them. I think we're going to do these tongs of 50 grams. And then I'm not sure if we're going to have them all the same flavor. We might do 7 different flavors inside the tong. And the reason it's been held up is, again, like, I think one of the big reasons that the tea has not really made it into the West is that nobody does the paperwork right. There's a ton of really small tea vendors that sell a couple kilograms a year, and you can take it over in a backpack or in a suitcase, or maybe in some small boxes shipped over. But once you actually do formal importing and exporting like we do, and we go to the customs bureau and we have to declare everything, every detail needs to be taken into account. And it took us 3 months to figure out if we can ship this dried bamboo legally into the US, UK, and EU. And our tentative answer is yes, if we have a plastic packaging inside of this, so the individual cakes are wrapped in plastic or an approved paper, and then the tea never touches this, it only ever touches the plastic or the approved paper. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I think, and because, like, again, some other tea company I'm sure is selling them. I don't know if they've gotten approval or not. I don't know if they know it, but I know that, like, figuring out details like this is, I think, very important, especially in the situation the trade world is going into. Just like the fact that the whole global trade is like seizing up right now. I just want to make sure I do it right. And if we do it right and we have the papers right, no one's going to stop us from being able to like grow and get the tea to you guys. So, Kim Taro says, appreciate your tea content. Love it. Thank you so much. So glad people are watching the videos. I love making the videos. Really, the whole point of the actual tea house selling stuff is so that I can spend my time making the videos and not have to do a day job, which is already, you guys are the best. You know, my day job is essentially selling tea and doing comedy shows now. Like, it's pretty nice. You know, it's, you know, the world does not give everybody that sort of opportunity. So I work really hard for you guys every day, trying to get you the good stuff. I do appreciate that. Question from you guys: should I, of the two types, would you rather have a tong with 7 50-gram cakes of one type, or but then you might as well just get a big cake? Or I'll put it this way: if we were going to do a 7-flavor tong, I live in downtown LA, so everything's perpetually on fire here. Would you guys like a 7-pack of 7 different flavors in 50 gram, or a 7-pack of 7 different flavors in the 357 gram? So the mini cakes or the big cakes? If either is going to be a variety pack, because it doesn't make sense to do a variety pack of 50s, because then you just get one big one. Yeah, that would be good. Zach really wants this private stash long form thing. I should do that. I just there's so many things I want to do. We'll say big. Think of like both big cakes, variety, 7 different 50 grams. Johnny Giralis says the approved paper plasticize, having a tone with plastic inside seems to defeat the purpose. It's not plasticized. I don't know how paper can be plasticated. You could always take that stuff is meant to be removed. I just like don't want to have my entire shipment seized at customs because they don't know what this is. You know. Ray M. Pierce says, what's your recommendation for a portable tea time setup? I have a really good $40 cup pot combo. It's a teapot that has a cup on top and a cup on bottom, and it packs up like that. It's $40 on the site. It comes in a couple colors. That's really good. And then the hot water is a little bit more difficult, but it depends on how far into the wild you're going. So, Rumbrave says, I need a tong of the Joy de La Banjang. We have the big cakes of those now, but yeah, we don't have the tong. Questions, Damon Shiny says, we need a long-form video of the Clyde mind-melting coral noise. Mind-melting, man. Cheers. Awesome. Very, very cool. Print a QR code with a link to your video on the outside of the boxes. We have a QR code with a link to making the tea video in the boxes, in the tea cards. On the back of all the tea cards, there's always a video. Terry Smart Black Hyper says, I find your prices very reasonable. Thank you. We tried. We're like, you know, all the inflation since 2021, we haven't raised the prices. We actually lowered the prices of some of our stuff recently. The white Gongfu tea tray set is lowered. The rotating pot, we lowered the price. You know, and those I was able to lower because those prices were actually set during COVID when I was paying ridiculous shipping prices. And my thought was that I would just like, as we got to scale and things got better, that like at the COVID prices, we literally were not making any money. Even though they seemed expensive, we were making $0. But my thinking was, if people get a tea set, they'll be more likely to actually drink tea. But nowadays we both had the shipping prices go down and we're at a bigger scale. And so we were actually making enough profit on those that I was like, you know what, I can actually cut the price a little bit. And again, same logic. I'd rather have the tea equipment be a little bit cheaper and everybody gets into it. But you know, very very cool. Questions over here. Do you have Anna Costa says, do you have the plans of expanding the variety of the resins to include oolong? Sister I is working on new resins. She gave me a raw pu'er resin and a white pu'er resin, white tea resin, and I tried both, but I didn't think they were up to the same quality of the four that were in the sampler. It's harder to make resin with lighter flavored teas because the resin naturally kind of has this kind of like deeper flavor in there from being cooked down, and the volatile compounds that you get when making the tea, you lose a lot of those in the resin process, no matter what you do. That's why the resin tastes a little bit different than tea. It's actually not so much that the taste is different, but the smell is different. And for teas like a lighter oolong, a white tea, a raw pu'er, losing that smell makes the experience not as good. And so we're playing around with like what temperature we extract the resin at and stuff like that to try to get some new resin flavors involved there. But I'm definitely not going to sell anything that I don't think is good. Originally, I wanted to have 5 resins in that sampler and have 4 of 5 different flavors. But it was not possible because the 4 that we got, I felt were like here, and then like the other ones are kind of still around there. So that, yeah, that's what I would say. Very, very cool. Gary Strider says, give us a white tea resin someday. I could give it to you now, but I don't think it would be up to the same standard. And like, again, I want everybody to trust that if it goes on the site, it's good. You know, everybody has personal taste, but I'm not putting anything on there that I wouldn't drink myself. Because a tea guy told me this, and it was very good advice. He's like, sell good tea, because every day you're going to have to drink the tea you're selling. So if you sell bad tea, you never drink good tea again in your whole life. I'm like, there you go. That's the way to do it. Nick says, do you think we get the best of Asian tea, or do they keep the good stuff for themselves? Well, Asia's big, but in general, I think that the good tea doesn't usually get out of the domestic market. There aren't that many people like me that are going into the Chinese domestic market for, you know, mid to high-end tea and buying any of it. The mid tea in Asia is higher quality than like what you could sell in the fanciest shop here in America. You know, I've thought about maybe trying to get it to like grocery stores or stuff, but my stuff is probably going to be too high quality. Like, they would probably be happier with a lower quality, lower price. It's I don't think there's like a conspiracy of any sort, like, oh, they don't sell it to us. It's like, if you want to buy it, they'll sell it to you, but you have to fit into their ideas of how to buy it. And that's been one of the biggest problems. Like, my biggest problem with the Taiwanese tea is that Taiwanese people drink so much tea that they just cannot imagine you would buy less than 250 grams at a time. And 250 grams is 5 times the size of the 50-gram tins we sell. And it took months to convince somebody to put it in a 50-gram tin. The packaging companies refused to do it. I had vendors who were like, the price was good, the tea was good, the mountain was clean, all the papers were in order. And I said, great, pack it in 50-gram tins. Oh, I'm not doing that. Why not? What do you charge? Like, it's not a question of money. I just don't want to do it. It's like, that's too little tea. But for Westerners, they've never had it before. Buying 250 grams of tea is a big investment. And it's more expensive by the time it gets here. So they just don't think that way. But if you go to Taiwan, you want to buy 250 grams of tea or a kilogram of tea at a time, you know, they'll sell it to you. It's so like, it's definitely you know, it's a challenge. Similarly, like there are also like very expensive teas in Asia that are not good because they have, you know, there are lots of people who are like, I'm going to start a tea company, I'm going to buy very fancy packaging, I'm going to buy cheap tea, I'm going to put it in there. So it's not like you go to Asia and because it's expensive, it's good. It's like any other high-end product, like, you know, 2 companies make bags. I don't know bags. I went shopping at an outlet mall with my Chinese friends, which is probably the most Chinese thing I've done in a year, is go to an outlet mall. And they wanted to go shopping, so we went to like Prada and like what are these other brands? I don't even know these brands. See, I don't know what the bag brands are. Anyway, they all look like bags to me. But I'm sure one company buys better leather than the other, and they both charge $1 bajillion, and one company's actually giving you better leather than the other. Like, it's, I just don't understand bags, clearly. I would not make it as in the Chinese luxury goods world. Nathaniel Ortiz says, love your shorts, think about ordering a sample. You should try it. Get the sampler or the subscription box. You actually don't need to subscribe to get the subscription box. You can get an individual box that comes with 3 teas. That you get more tea for your dollar if you get the subscription club than anything else on the site. So I'm gonna do 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna get going. So, question over here. One Brave says, whatever happened to the pink wallets you got instead of your clothes from your trip to China? They're still in my apartment. I have like boxes of this stuff. It wasn't just wallets. They had like travel cutlery kits, and a bunch of like hamburger napkin holders that are like napkin holders in the shape of a hamburger that's like meant to be like for like some sort of like 50s style restaurant. I don't know. I was thinking, I mean, I live in downtown LA. I was thinking I could find some sort of like street guy to sell them. Like, I'm like, hey, like, you know, figure it out how to do it. Kid sent me a live on air. Thank you for that. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it popped up on my screen. It looked awesome. Thank you so much, Kid. Question from TikTok. Jake asked, do you get a euphoric feeling from Jinjume or Baimudan? I mean, I get a kick from all the tea. Really good Jinjume is great. Really good Baimudan is great. I like Jinjume and Baimudan. It's good stuff. Sylvie Pickle says, if you're only going to get one, would you recommend the sampler or the subscription because there's more variety to figure out what you like? If you've never had any like good tea before or like any like Chinese tea before, I would get the AT sampler just so you can try different flavors. If you've had enough of like oolong, so you're like, I kind of like oolong. If you've had a cooked pu'er before and you know you like it, then I would get the subscription. If you know you don't like cooked pu'er, get the AT sampler because 1/3 of your subscription you won't like. But the subscription teas are always a really good deal because I can get them at scale because of the subscription, and they're heavily discounted while they're in the subscription. But after the next cycle, the discount is going to go away. So it's you know, it's a good deal now until the next one comes out. But for then, like after that, it's going to be the prices are going to go up. So we do occasionally do sales on them afterwards, but you know. Steph sent Tang Wu. Oh, awesome! Thank you so much. I didn't know that you could send Tang Wu gifts. Becky Hughes says, I usually get my tea from expos here in Malaysia, but it's hard to control oneself because you have 1 or 2 tea cakes and a few kilograms of bags, and you know, it's yeah, if you go to, dude, I've been to tea expos in China. It's hard to control yourself, and that's even as somebody that knows I have way too much tea. So that's the fun. Chris Mindsight says, first time catching you, looking forward to trying some of your teas. Thank you so much, appreciate it. Always good to have people on here. I think I'm going to do like 2 or 3 more minutes and then I'm going to get off. So Kandaya says, don't run out of Jinjume. I don't want to. I may actually try to, in the same way we had a Chimen red tea on the site and we had a premium Chimen, I'm actually looking to see if I can get a premium Jinjume because the Jinjume gets to very high grades, and so it's not that it's not better, it's just about finding the right price range. And the last Jinjume I had to fit into the subscription box price before we really got up to sale. I think it was in the first subscription box that we ever did. It was either the first or the second. I think it was the first. So the subscription when we started, you know, we had no idea how big the subscription was going to be. We didn't actually buy that much. We didn't get to any scale. But now with the scale, I can probably get a better tea at the same price. We'll figure it out. But I know says, would you say AliExpress is an okay place to get teaware? I don't know. The thing with AliExpress or Temu or Taobao or any of these places is that the vendors don't really have any skin in the game shipping abroad. If the stuff breaks, you're screwed. If there's a quality problem, you're screwed. If they haven't done their heavy metal testing, you'll never know. There are good vendors out there. How you would tell the good ones from the not good ones, that's the whole problem. That's why even in China, people have tea people. Like even when I lived in China, before I did any of this social media stuff, if I want to buy stuff, I go to my tea guy and I say, who do you know? Because you've done the research. You know the potter. You know the tea farmer. You can give me some assurance of what I'm buying is actually real. So the problem is not necessarily that everything is going to be crap on there. You might actually find some good stuff. More likely to find good stuff for teaware than for tea. Because tea is really easy to buy a fancy bag and put bag tea in there and then you sell it in the West and you'll never get sued. A lot of people may not even know they're getting bad stuff. The teaware, if it comes broken, it's broken. So like if you do that badly enough, you might get corrected, but I would advise against it just because it's just very disappointing to wait weeks. They all ship one at a time from China by air. You're spending a lot of your money on shipping. If it's free shipping from China by air, it's not free shipping. You're buying a product that's at a lower price, and they add that shipping in to the price. Yeah. But again, I don't know. Like again, this is something you'll never see me do. I don't bash anybody else's brand on the channel ever. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. Some people ask, oh, what about this website or that website? It's like, I don't know their sourcing. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do their importing. I don't know their procedures. I'm not going to crap on anyone else's tea company. Occasionally people hate on my tea company and they say all this stuff about the way I do tea. I'm like, you don't know. Like, you could ask these questions if you're worried or you have questions about the sourcing. I'm very open with all of my sourcing and I answer a ton of questions. But like, for that reason, I just don't know. And so when I don't know, I kind of usually would rather spend a little bit of extra money and kind of know. And especially with teaware, you're going to have it for a long time. So like, but at the same time, it's like they're, as one of the weird potential good things that could come out of the trade disputes now is that if for the completely wrong reasons, people get more suspicious about foreign trade and they actually start enforcing a lot of the rules that are there about heavy metals testing and chemicals testing, our stuff is really good. Our stuff is passing and will pass. And then other people who are selling lower quality stuff may not pass. And it would make the market a little bit easier for people to get through. But again, I'm not really confident that that's going to happen. So. Questions over here. Gone Kiffin says, I think you made Scott come back to YouTube. I think you're talking about the Yunnan sourcing guy. I met him once. I'm sure he doesn't remember me a long time ago in Yunnan through a friend of mine. I think he was still doing Yunnan sourcing then. I'm not sure. It might have been before that. But anybody who's helping the tea world grow, I think is a good thing. That's why I don't understand people who are like, oh, that company's shit. This company's great. It's like all the tea companies right now that actually do real tea, not watermelon oolong, not like, herbal tea, like tea leaf tea, Chinese golden tea style. Anybody who wakes up and spends their time trying to build this knowledge, I think is great. I think we're all on the same team. I don't think the market is anywhere near big enough that we should be fighting about this stuff. But it's like, it's crazy. Parsa says, is this central? I can't find a decent apartment in downtown LA with a nice balcony. There's a lot of boxes like the one I live in downtown LA. I'm not going to say the name of my building because I don't want to send a bajillion people to my door, but there's a lot of people around downtown LA. I like this housing. I mean, like downtown is kind of crazy, but you can get around without a car. And there's a lot of like there's 100 restaurants within reach, and Little Tokyo is nearby if you want Asian food, and supermarkets, and there's great Mexican food here. There's all sorts of great stuff downtown, and if you can get high enough up in these buildings, it's really beautiful out here. I really feel like they should charge the people on floor one half of what they're charging me, because the ability to have the view and the air and the porch is like such a big part of why I like this apartment. But yeah. Questions over here. Sylvie Pickle says, I appreciate both you and the Mayleaf team for being educational, welcoming people who are new. I think a lot of the sort of like, I have not, like, you know, again, I like being positive about the tea community. One of the negatives I was saying about the tea community is as it gets kind of higher up and more experience, people get very cliquey, and they don't like, if you mention you like herbal tea, they'll just kick you out immediately. I'm like, come on, dude. Let people like what they like. Like, it may not be part of the tradition that I study or that they study, but like, we don't have to be assholes about this. You know, I could do it. I could sit in a robe and just be like, you know, today we are drinking raw pu'er tea from Nan No Shan Mountain. And I'm like, I don't, like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Sometimes you see people are saying, you know those people that are like, there's a Q&A with somebody and they're asking a question so that they seem smart and they don't really care about the answer. They just want to say a smart question in front of everybody. There's some of that vibe to the higher end tea people. And again, it's like, I speak Chinese. I've met a lot of tea people around the world. I'm very fortunate to have been able to spend the amount of time I have in my life to be able to learn about tea stuff. If they're not happy with me, these people are not open. And I think that the openness is really important. It's just anybody who is really interested in doing culture, you got to meet people where they are. And it's like, I'd love to live in a world where every single person on this stream knew all the major tea mountains and we could get into really deep niche stuff. I think that'd be cool. But that's not where we are. And honestly, like, I like helping people kind of get into the hobby. And I wouldn't, I mean, if we never get there, I like doing this, so it's cool. So, you know, Wesley Pruitt says, absolutely love your format, Jesse. Thank you. Tea Friends and Community, great vibe. It's great. It's a good community. It's a very good community. I really love it. Somebody says just tea, not going to get a buzz off of it. I disagree. If you've ever had a good raw pu'er, you know, especially a really good aged raw pu'er, sit down and really feel your body a little bit. There's some changes going on there. It really helps. It's focused and calm simultaneously. I wouldn't call it like Jake says, is there any tea that gives you a euphoric joy or high? I think it, like, sitting down with people, having tea, drinking especially a raw pu'er or something like that, like, you're gonna have a good time. You know, caffeine, L-theanine, these things are chemicals. Drugs are chemicals. I don't want to say it's a drug because I don't think it's really helpful to think that way anyway. You get into a lot of interesting cultural stuff once you start to define what's a drug, what's not a drug. I will say that, you know, there's something in the tea that is chemical that is good for you and feels good. But it's not the entirety of the thing. And also, I think the way that you drink it does matter. I think that sitting down in a nice place with your equipment and your tea pets and all this stuff and really being mindful about how you make the tea, engaging with good people, sometimes I have tea with real people. You notice it's often not on the website or on the videos because I made the decision that I was not going to lose the thing I loved about tea, which was having tea with friends. I didn't want to lose that by being a creator and then have every time I have tea with somebody, I'm making videos. So I very rarely make videos with other people having tea. Doesn't mean I'm not having tea with people. But I think that like, that's just really good stuff. And that's why you see the Gongfu tea. We've gotten emails from people who have like PTSD or like drug issues, alcoholism. Tea has been able to help them with these things. I'm not making any medical claims here. I'm just saying we've gotten emails from people who have had like real substance problems or issues with depression, PTSD, big like mental challenges that have benefited from the process and the mindfulness of making the tea. And so, it's not just good vibes. It's also there are chemicals involved. But the good vibes are very important. Cheers. Chuck says hello from the Canadian Arctic. Greetings. I've always wanted to get up there. We had somebody message me that they were buying my tea in Nunavut, and they were like, it was like $40 for tea, and it cost them like $55 to ship it to Nunavut. I feel kind of bad about that, but again, I'm not these shipping companies, man. These people must make an unbelievable amount of money. Can't even imagine how much money these shipping companies make. Authentically Becoming says, just here, what about PTSD? I was just saying, I've gotten messages. I got several messages from veterans who served, I think, mostly in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then came back to the States. They had very bad PTSD. They found the tea channel. They got a Kung Fu set, and they sit down and drink tea, and they talk with people, and it's just like super healthy. It's just like, that's a very difficult condition to treat. And just the whole thing of it with the tea has actually been very helpful to some people there. So it's it's very cool. Sylvie says, I definitely feel like the tea has helped improve my physical and mental state. It's great. I'm not a health guru. I'm not a healthy guy. I try not to be unhealthy, which means like holding back on my desire to eat all the chocolate now that I'm back in America, and all the sweets and all the stuff I didn't have for 9 years. I don't always succeed. I eat fatty foods and stuff like that, but thank God I have the tea, because if I was drinking soda, if every cup of tea was replaced with soda, I'd be like 400 pounds and diabetic and in real trouble, because I drink so much tea. Definitely. I think I'm gonna head out for now. Been on almost an hour and a half. That's nuts. Okay, definitely enough for that. Cheers. I think it's been great to be able to hang out with you guys. Like, follow. If you are like a fan of the channel, please do leave comments on the videos, because that's like the videos and leave comments, because that's how they can tell that you're actually watching. These platforms are nuts, man. I post over one video a day on YouTube, and we talk to somebody at YouTube about why my traffic is going down. They say you don't post as much as you used to. I'm like, I work for free for you every day, and they still won't give me traffic on the videos. People follow. You guys follow. TikTok, the amount of followers you have, not relevant in whether they share your videos. It's not like, oh, it's not very relevant. As far as I can tell, the algorithm, there is no correlation with whether you said you want to follow me and whether they show you my videos. So like them, comment on them, engage with the stuff. Especially our friends on YouTube over here. Check out the long videos. I just released a new video blog update with our tea community, with my friend Jay, who's helping to organize our activities now. And it's very, very, very great. Chase says, I drive my friends crazy. I tell them to follow you. That's even better. If you can get your friends to follow me, that's a big reach. I'm even just saying for you guys, if I float across your space, make sure you give me the likes, the shares and stuff. And of course, if you want tea and tea stuff, go to the website, jessechelsh.com, or go to the TikTok shop. It's good stuff. And the warehouse is in New Jersey, so it ships out of America. You're not going to have to wait 4 weeks, 6 weeks for it to come from Asia. And our EU warehouse is going to be opening hopefully next week. If nothing goes wrong, and I can't imagine what would go wrong at this point. I'm a little anxious saying that, because you never know. But We're going to be able to open the EU warehouse with most of our tea equipment and all of our Taiwanese teas. And then we're going to be slowly upgrading it with the rest of the tea equipment and the Chinese mainland teas as soon as I can. So that's great. Shay says, I just got the tea club. It's the best thing I've ever tried. Yes, join our subscription club. It's like, we spend so much time on the subscription, and it's like, it's the best deal on the site. So that's great. So very, very cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to head out now. Have a great rest of your weekend. And, you know, go for a drink more tea. Awesome. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.